this tutorial, I'm going to show you step by step how to draw those watercolor whales for Mother's Day in Procreate. And if you would like to use the same colors that I will be using here, you can download this color palette for free. Together with my free Procreate brushes, everything is linked in the description of this video. If you enjoyed this video and would like to get more step-by-step tutorials like this, and many Procreate brushes, make sure to check out my Patreon. I add their new video every week. Link is in the description. And with all that being said, grab your drawing tools, relax, and let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. Rotate it this way. And first we can add here a paper texture. To do it, we have to go to the Actions menu, Add, and then insert the file. Go to my paper textures. And today, let's use here paper texture number 9. Let's rotate it this way and make it fit the canvas. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. And right away, we can change here the contrast a little bit. For this, we can go to the adjustments and we can take curves. And we are going to take the middle point down a little bit. And then this one a little bit to the left, like this. And this one somewhere over here. So something like this. Let's tap here to finish this. And now we are going to keep this paper texture at the bottom of our illustration, but we also want to have some paper texture on top of our drawings. So for this, we are going to duplicate this layer. And we are going to change here blending mode to color burn. We can turn down the opacity a little bit. Let's make it 90%. And now let's duplicate this one. So swipe on to the left and pick duplicate. And this one we can change here to overlay. And turn down the opacity a little bit more. Let's make it 70%. We can always come back here later and adjust this. So before we start sketching our whales, let's still add here a little bit of color under the paper texture. So let's make a new layer for this. We are going to move this layer under the first paper texture over here. And let's pick the color. Let's take color number 12 and we can drag and drop it in here. And now so we can see this color a little bit, we have to turn down the opacity of this layer, this paper texture. So let's tap here and let's make this here 73%. Okay, now it's time to do a sketch. Let's make a new layer. So our sketch layer will be here under those two paper textures that are on top. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 1. And let's pick a brush. I'm going to use here my Siakulaart pencil brush from my Siakulaart freebies brushes. If you want, you can use any other sketching brush that you like. I'll make the brush size 30. And let's draw here a whale shape. First, the big whale. Let's draw here kind of like a teardrop shape. So draw a shape like this. Now we can draw here tail. So just like that. Okay. And now we can draw here the belly. So somewhere over here, a little bit less than half of this shape, we can draw a line going like that. And somewhere in the middle of this, we are going to have a fin. Let's draw it this way. And then somewhere over here we can draw an eye. I'm going to draw a closed eye like this. On the belly over here we can draw stripes. So just follow this shape. And now we can rotate this. So let's take the arrow tool. At the bottom I have uniform option selected. And I would like her to go maybe a little bit this way. And I'm going to move her somewhere over here. And maybe make it just a little bit smaller. Let's tap here to finish this. And now we can draw the baby whale. So we are going to draw it exactly in the same way, just a smaller version and going this way. So first like a teardrop shape, then the tail, belly, a fin, stripes on his belly, and his eye. He can have open eye like this. If you want to adjust this, we can select this first. So let's take the selection tool. At the bottom, let's pick freehand option. Make sure color fill is off. And now we can select this shape like that. Close the selection and take the arrow tool and we can adjust it. Maybe I will rotate it this way. And it's okay that now we kind of messed up here the sketch for the big whale. It's just a sketch. As long as we know what we are drawing here, it's fine. Okay, so I want my baby whale to be this way. So I'm going to tap here and this is finished. Now I can take the arrow tool again and adjust the composition over here. I'll make them bigger just a little bit and put them in the middle of the canvas. Okay, and let's tap here to finish this. We can also draw here the water splash from her hole that will go in a heart shape. So first we can very lightly draw the heart shape. And then let's draw around it a little water splashes like this. And the sketch is finished. Now we can change the blending mode of the sketch. So let's tap here and set it to multiply. Now before we color this, we are going to draw here a base for the colors. Let's make a new layer for this and move this layer under the sketch over here. Let's take color. We can take here this color number 12. So the color of the paper. And let's change the brush. Let's go now here to inking and take Studio Pen. Let's make the brush size 29. And we are going to outline here the top part of the whale. And maybe so we can see better what we are drawing, for a moment we can change here the background color for this. So let's make a new layer here. Let's take the layer underneath. We can take here any dark color. Let's take maybe color number 5 and drag and drop it in here. And now we can go back to our layer here, the one that is on top of this one. Again, we can take that light color, color number 12. And now easily we can see actually how we are going to outline this. Let's also outline the fin. Okay, and let's color this inside. So drag and drop the color in here. And here. And now we can do the same for the baby whale. And let's color this inside. Okay. Now we are going to make a new layer to draw the shapes for the bellies. So let's do that. Let's make a new layer and we can put it under the first shapes over here. We can use the same color and just outline this. So just like that. And then just close this shape over here so you can color this inside. And same for the baby. Okay, now we can just delete this layer of the color. Let's swipe on it to the left and pick delete. And we can start adding here colors. We can maybe start here with the bellies because they will be easier. There is less colors on them. So let's go to this layer over here and make a new layer on top of this one. And now we're going to set it as clipping mask. So let's tap here and pick clipping mask. And this means that whatever we're going to draw here will be visible only on the shapes that are on the layer underneath. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 6. And now let's pick a brush. I will be using here my watercolor brushes. If you're interested in them, the link to them is in the description. But if you don't have them, don't worry. You can just use here my watery brush. Go to Siakulaart special brushes and you can use this one, watery. You can create with this brush a nice watercolor effects. So I will go here to my Siakulaart watercolor brushes. So I'm going to take here watercolor basic brush. And with a brush size 13% and brush opacity 47, let's add here some color very lightly to the top part of those bellies. So just like that. And then here a little bit at the bottom part. And same for the baby. For the baby we can make a brush size smaller, 4%, and add it here in a similar way. Okay, I'll add just a little bit more over here. Now we can take the smudge tool and we can smudge those colors just a little bit. Let's tap on the smudge tool again. And I'm going to set it to watercolor smudge from my set. And if you don't have this set, you can set it to the same brush that you're using, so the watery brush from Siakulaart special brushes. With the brush size 21%, I'm just going to smudge here this a little bit, make this transition here nicer. And also over here. Now let's draw those stripes. Before we do that, maybe we can turn down the opacity of the sketch layer. So let's go over here. And I'm going to make it here maybe like 40%. Okay, so I'm still here on the layer with the colors for the belly. Let's change the color. Let's take color number 7. And I'm going to change here the brush. I will use watercolor thin. You can just keep using the watery brush from Siakulaart special brushes, just change the brush size. Here I'm going to make my brush size 9% and I will turn down the opacity. I will make it here 66. And let's outline here those lines like this. And let's draw along those lines like this. Same for the baby. And that's it. The bellies are done. Now let's add some color to the top part of them. So for this, let's go to the shape of them over here and let's make a new layer on top. Let's set it as clipping mask. And let's pick the color. Let's take here color number 2. Let's pick the brush. I'm going to go back here to watercolor basic. And with the brush size 18 and brush opacity still smaller, 46, we can add this color here to the top part of the whale, just like that. kind of all over this. And same for the baby here. Okay, now let's make the opacity 100%. Let's make the brush size smaller, 11. And we can add this color now more like this. Make it here stronger, more visible around the edge of this shape. So with these brushes, if you go in one spot a few times, the color becomes darker. So just be careful so you will not do it too dark. But if you will, it's still fine. We can always just smudge it away and take that color away. Okay, so let's add more or less this much of the color. I will still make you this part darker. And now let's do the same for the baby. So just add some more color over here around the edges of this shape. Okay, and now let's smudge this a little bit. So let's take the smudge tool. I'll make the brush size here bigger, 42. And here I'm just going to stamp a little bit. So I can keep here still this nice watercolor effect. So just like that. And same for the baby. Now we can add here some more colors. We can do it on a new layer. We are also going to set this layer's clipping mask. And let's pick the color. Let's take color number 3. Here I will change my brush to watercolor dark edges. And with the brush size 36, I'll just add this color in few spots over here, just so there's more colors on this whale. So just like that. And same for the baby. Okay, and next color now, color number 4. Let's add it here, just like that. And now we can do the same with the other brush, the watercolor basic, so we can apply a little bit more of this color in few places. Maybe like this. Let's smudge this now. So take the smudge tool and we can blend those colors together here, make it look nicer. You can move this color around. And now we can turn down the opacity of this layer. Maybe this is a little bit too strong. So let's just take it down a little bit. I will make it here 77. Now on a new layer we can add some more details. So let's make a new layer. Let's also set it as clipping mask and change the color. Let's take here color number 8. And with this color we can just add some small lines on the tail. Let's change the brush. I will use here watercolor thin. Make it small, maybe like 8%. And the opacity is 66. And I will just draw here lines like that. Okay. Same over here for the baby. And now I'm going to turn down the opacity of this. I will make it 77. And on a new layer, we can draw the eye. So let's make a new layer. set it as clipping mask. We can take color number 5 and let's draw the eye. And for the baby. Okay. And now maybe on the same layer that we draw those lines on the tails. So over here we can draw the blush. Let's take color number 10 for this. Let's make the brush size bigger, 76, and just draw it over here very lightly, like this. Now we can turn off the sketch for a moment. Let's turn it off. And we are going to add here some fun extra effects. So for this, let's make a new layer. We can make this layer here on top of the colors on the whale, under the cheeks. And let's pick the color. Let's take color number 4. And let's change the brush. I will use here Watercolor Splashy. And if you don't have this brush, you can just keep using the watery brush. Just stamp some dots. So let's add here a little bit of this like that, kind of all over this. My brush size here is 100%. And now I'll make some smaller spots with the brush size 30. We can just stamp it here a few times, like this. Okay, and now we can change the blending mode of this layer. So let's tap here and we can set it as overlay and turn down the opacity. I will make it here 67. So it's there, but it's not too much. Now let's make a new layer. And here we can change the color. Let's take color number 9. And let's change the brush. Here let's go to my Siakulaart special brushes. And we can take here this one, Soft Splash, with the brush size 36. We can just add it here now all over this. Okay. And we are going to change the blending mode of this. Let's set this here to screen and turn down the opacity. I will make it 49. Now we can make the edges of those shapes in few places a little bit darker. Let's make a new layer for this. And let's change the blending mode to Color Burn. Let's pick the color. Let's take color number 8. And let's take the brush. I will go back to my Siakulaart watercolors. And I will use here this one, Watercolor Less Water. With the brush size 6%, we can very lightly make the edges darker, like this. If you want, you can use the smudge tool and maybe fix this. So just move this back in here or make it go more on the whale. It's up to you how you want to do this. And also you can always turn down the opacity of this layer. So let's add this effect here in a few places. Just make the edges here a little bit darker. I'll make the brush size smaller now, 2%, so I can be more precise over here. And the same for the baby. We can make the edges darker just in a few places. And I will turn down the opacity of this layer just a little bit. I'm going to make it here 77%. Now let's still fix it a little bit. Let's say you noticed you don't like some color over here. I think maybe this blue over here for me, it's too bright. So we can fix it easily. Let's go to the layer of that color. It's this one. And we can go to the adjustments and take hue, saturation, brightness. Now here, let's tap on this triangle and pick pencil. Let's pick the brush. I'm going to use here watercolor basic brush. And now here at the bottom, we can change the hue. Let's make it 50%. We are not going to be changing color of this. And we can take here brightness up. I'll make it 62, and now we can just mark this area that I want to be brighter. So just like that. And now you can see if I make the brightness 100%, it will disappear. Or make it darker here. So this way you can easily now adjust the way your illustration look. And if you want, you can also change the hue. Maybe it would be nice to give him some kind of greenish color here. So this is up to you. I'm going to keep it here at 50%, so I'm not changing the colors. Okay, let's tap here to finish this. And now let's add here background. So for this, let's make a new layer over here on top of the paper texture under the bellies. And let's pick the color. Let's take color number 11. And for the background, we are going to draw here a circle with some dots. We can do it easily by using one of my brushes. Let's go to the Siakulaart special brushes and take here this one with dots. We can make the brush size here 34, and we're going to draw here a circle. Let's draw it a few times, like this, and now hold your pencil on the screen and put your finger here to create a perfect circle. Okay, now you can tap here and you can adjust the position. I'm going to put it somewhere over here. And then tap with your finger on the screen to finish this. Let's color here the rest of the circle. Just make sure you don't color here too many times, because then you're gonna take out the effect. Okay. And now in the end, we still had here those water splashes coming from the mama whale. So let's draw them. We can bring back here our sketch first. This one. And now we cannot see this much. We can first invert here the colors. So let's tap on it and pick invert. And now we have to change here the blending mode. We can put it here as screen, for example. And now let's make a new layer to draw this. We can make this new layer here on top of that blue circle. Let's pick the color. Let's take here color number 10. And let's change the brush. I'm going back here to my Siakulaart watercolors. And I will use here this one, Watercolor Thin Dark Edges. And with the brush size 12, I will just draw here those water splashes like that. Okay, now we can turn off the sketch so we can see how this will look. Okay. And we can still add here maybe some blue color. Let's take color number 9. And we can add it here in a few places. Maybe let's make the brush opacity smaller. I will make it here 60%. And then let's just add it here a little bit. Okay, and let's smudge this. So let's take the smudge tool. Let's make the brush size small for this, 2%, and smudge this so the colors will blend nicely here. And if you want, you can still maybe write here text, Happy Mother's Day. But I like my illustration like this, so for me, this is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share drawing with me on Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you'd like to draw more of me, don't forget to check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!